Welcome to Prime Society of Inspirational Storytellers. I'm really excited that you guys are here tonight. This is our first event, and when you look at the room, I'm just overwhelmed with joy. Storytelling has been a part of our culture for years, and people have really gotten away from telling stories. In the day of multimedia, Facebook, Twitter, most of us, I must speak for myself. I've been here in Florida for 8 years, and I didn't even know my neighbors. I drove out, went to work, came home, closed the garage door, and that was it. Facebook, Skype. So primary purpose is to bring the community together, to have people come and talk again, to have us interact with each other, and bring back the humanistic quality of interacting, talking, sharing. Storytelling is a part of our culture. I can recall my grandmother, my grandfather telling stories. Their stories oftentimes were to guide us in terms of their expectation. Sometimes it was just for laughter. Sometimes after they got through disciplining us, back in the day we got whippings. I don't know anything about that here today. But back in the day we got whippings with switches and treats. But they told us stories then to correct us. And today, I know all of us have experienced some type of emotion in terms of laughter, joy, pain, tears. So all of us in here have a story that lies deep within us. And part of storytelling is a process of cathartic, a process of healing. And when you tell your story, you're not the only one that heals. There may be somebody else that's out there that's going through the same thing that you're going through. And they may find some healing and empowerment and strength in your story. So this evening, I'd like to say first, thank you for coming. I ask you to sit back, relax, and allow yourself to be engaged in our storytellers this evening as they share with you a small glimpse of their life, their video. And it's just ask you just to take part in their video and go on the journey with them. And without further ado, we have our first storyteller to come up, Mr. Mike Spencer.
The first time I can remember actually going to church, I was about 5 or 6 years old. And we went to an Episcopalian church. And I can only remember going maybe a handful of times. And then we switched to a Methodist church. And we went there for a couple of years. And all of a sudden we quit going. But I never asked really why we quit going. We just quit going. And then my parents bought a lake property, so we were gone all weekend. So we just never ended up going back to church. Then I started dating a young lady, and she became my fiancée. And I went back to the church that I'd gone to, the Methodist church, and I asked the pastor if he'd marry us. And he said he would, but he had to talk to us before he'd marry us. So we went over to see him, and he asked me why I quit coming there. I told him I really didn't know, but he said, well, ask your dad. So I did. My dad said he had a falling out with the pastor. So that was our reason for stopping, which really isn't a reason in my personal opinion, but that's what we did. So then he talked to us about marriage, and he said marriage is a wonderful thing, but the honeymoon's going to be over anywhere from 30 days to a year. Then you're going to have to know how to communicate and talk to each other. You know, that's one of the key things in a marriage. You got to be able to talk to each other. So we sat and talked with the pastor for about an hour, and I guess he did a really good job because I ended up staying married to Carol for 33 years. And then we had children, and I have a son and a daughter. And Carol and I never actually went back to church after we got married, but we had a son and a daughter, but we sent both of them to Christian school from kindergarten all the way through the 12th grade. So they were exposed to the Lord. And I remember my son one time asked me, Dad, why don't we go to church? And I said, well, how do we know church is where we need to go? A man built that church. I said, I think if I live a good, clean life, I'll go to heaven. Well, was I mistaken? I know now that that is not the truth. So what I did was I basically brushed him under the rug, and he never asked me to go again. And then my wife got terminal brain cancer. And I remember asking the Lord, Even though I hadn't been to church in a long time, I asked the Lord if He would make it so that she wasn't in a lot of pain. And she lasted about 5.5 months, and then she passed. And I was sitting at the dining room table one Sunday morning, and my daughter asked me, "Hey, Dad, why don't you go to church with me today?" And I said, "Okay." So I got dressed and we went to church. And I went to a Baptist church on the landing, and I got a very good church family. And I got enrolled in Sunday school, and I learned a lot that I had missed. And I remember thinking in Sunday school, man, I wished I would have taken Jonathan up and gone to church. Because it's a wonderful place, and if you've never been, I invite you to find a church home. Because you need to know about the Lord. During one of the evening on a Sunday night, we had an evangelist come to town. And I remember sitting up in the pew, and he said that he wanted anybody that wanted to be saved to come down and say the prayer. And I remember sitting there thinking, no, I am not going down there. Well, next thing I knew, I'm standing in the middle of about 30 people. And I said the prayer, and then I went and they divided us up into groups, and I became a member of the church, and I've been there ever since. And it's been a wonderful experience. So I got saved on January 16, 2011. Then I got baptized on Easter of 2011. And that was a wonderful experience. We have a very large dunking tank. And I'm not the smallest of the people. And the pastor's about David's size. So when he dunked me, he lost me. So I'm flopping around like a fish. He grabs me by the hair and pulls me up. And I was saved. Now I know people don't like you to read stuff, but I need to read a couple things because I don't have the memory to remember all this. And this is so true when I read it. There's a lot of people out here in the audience that'll say, wow, that's me. So I'll read it. Another busy day. So much to do. So many bills to pay. The pressure, the anxiety keeps me up most nights. It's like I spend most of my time these days trying to solve tomorrow's problems today. On top of that, I felt tired all the time from the stress, the worry, the lack of sleep. With all this going on, I really didn't have time to pray or read my Bible. I wanted to, it just got squeezed out by all the stuff that was going on in my life every day. When did I slow down and pray for a while? When I did slow down and pray for a while, the Lord said to me, why don't you let me be God? I can handle these things for you. So I guess in all the hustle and the bustle, I finally woke up and listened to the Lord. So now I let the Lord handle that stuff. But every once in a while I get so caught up in work and everything else I'm doing, like probably everybody in the room, I keep this close by so I can read it and remind me, I need to let God be God. Let God be God for a while today and stop trying to be Him. He can carry much more than you can. He can handle the pressure. He can see what is coming and prepare you for it. Sometimes we just need to be still and let God be God and handle our life. A lady at my church gave me a poem, and when I get feeling sorry for myself and think, why am I still here? What is my purpose? Carol's gone. And she gave me this poem. And it's basically like Carol talking to me. As I sit in heaven and watch you every day, I try to let you know with signs I never went away. I hear you laughing and watch you while you sleep. I even place my arms around you while you weep. I see you wishing these days away, begging to have me home. So I try to send the signs so you know you're not alone. Don't feel guilty. Live your life and live it to the best. Laugh again, enjoy yourself, and be free. I know with every breath you take, you'll be taking one for me. Then I have a couple passages that are my favorites. It's John 6:68. To whom shall we go but you? You have the words of eternal life. In Psalms 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. I will exalt among the nations, and I will be exalted in the earth. We don't know how much time we actually have on earth. It's just a stopover in our journey. So love your brothers and all your sisters like you'd like to be loved. Try to find the good in everything that happens in your day. It's so easy to find the bad, and it's hard to find the good sometimes. But if you find the good, the bad isn't near as bad as it could have been. Thank you.